All right. So we have to ask, for Oregon, Antifa, did Richard Spencer win? Do you know that the teachers of Oregon, the teachers union, is trying to teach that math is inherently racist? Now, what's very important is if you grab one of those laminates from, you grab like a study laminate. If you look up the Greek alphabet laminate, you get and actually the one biblical Greek laminate, you'll find that at one point the letters, they show how the letters were used, like area, radius, that the symbols used, they were real letters, and that they represented a mathematical function and or a letter and or number. So you had this amazing way that a word could literally be a numerical formula. And this is why the early period of Christianity was so convincing to so many people, is because it's not numerology, it's like numericon or something. But I'm getting that wrong. It's grammaticon, notaricon, which it could be notaricon, but I don't think that's correct either. But it's the mathematical end of the Greek alphabet, of the Koine Greek. So the important part becomes that they derived this from an older system, a system that they inherited from a number of different Mediterranean peoples. We can look back to the Phoenicians, but we know that this also includes the Egyptians as well, that the Egyptians had a similar system that the Greeks actually admired so much that eventually most of what we know about Egypt, that there's this huge period of time that what we really know about Egypt is a period of time that was ruled by ethnic Greeks, and that it was a favorite hotspot of ethnic Greeks for schooling. And also because of this, we know that Greeks had gone all the way to places in northern Africa that fundamentally just don't even exist anymore. And only now, because we have pico satellites and ground searching radar from satellites, that we're starting to find out that there is a whole region of North Africa that fundamentally is buried under sand, and that most of the climate change information that we have has to be incorrect. Our theories about climate change have to be incorrect, and that the Upper Dryas theory is one of the only theories that now holds water. Everything else is based on, and then humans started eating the cow farts. It always comes down to humans did things, cow farts, Mother Earth is mad, everybody needs to eat bugs. It's just the way stupid people think about in a stupid religion, in the religion of stupid Mother Earth, Gaia kind of stuff. So these Gaia worshippers, these total savage morons who are so cowardly, they will let arson and all kinds of savagery and murder happen in areas that they control, such as Seattle and Portland, and that property rights don't matter, and that everybody is starting to agree that property rights don't matter until somebody tries to fuck with their shit, and then they get very upset and very offended in a very middle class, limp-wristed, limp dick kind of way. So, how did Richard Spencer win here in Oregon? The teachers have decided that math is white. They've said it. They've actually gone there, that they're going to try to teach some form of math that is non-racist math. Now, the reason why I'm saying Richard Spencer won is because where did race math come from? Where is this concept even from? Nazi Germany. Yes, indeed, everybody. Nazi Germany. As F.A. Hayek points out in his book, Road to Serfdom, One of the key things about all collectives is that at some point the collectives have an outgroup. That outgroup, any accomplishment they've had has to be twisted in some way so that the mythos of the collective works. Now, I was going to wax a little Orthodox versus Catholic, but I'm not going to, because Jay Dyer does such a better job of citing the actual sources. But one of the things I think is the best part about this is that Oregon now has the problem of saying that fundamentally this ancient art that is really just simply a way that people managed to record information. Because you see, nobody can really get into this idea that like math is white, being that we have mathematical systems. I mean, the Babylonian system, one of the key things you could find in the Sefer Yetzirah is a reference to Draco. Aryeh Kaplan had to explain to people that in his translation, elucidation upon the Sefer Yetzirah, that the description of Draco is being described as if there is a face, and all we are seeing are the coils of hair coming down as constellations of stars. That was how they actually said. So this means that they actually could understand the depth that was. So it wasn't like the stars were drawn on a plate that they were seeing. They realized that this was completely three-dimensional, and that Draco went around in a circle, but that there's other stars that are fundamentally kind of almost lower in height. They're closer to the observer and farther. This is literally during the ancient Israelites being in Babylon. They were noted astronomers, and that's a big part of the Sefer Yetzirah, such that the alphabet, the Jewish alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, is then applied to star systems. And as everybody knows, that's another one that has a link back to Egypt. So the entire Mediterranean region actually has this long tradition of letters, numbers, alphabets, and with the concept of the road to wisdom is through the alphabet. So the very concept that, this is some white, and that it only, like math only works if you're white. The sheer number of strange things that you would have to think. And so what we have is the state schools are going to teach that math is inherently racist and white. This is absolutely the same thing done to Jews in Germany. This is absolutely the same thing. F.A. Hayek actually documents this because the Germans kept having to use mathematical formulas for various weapon systems and technological development, and these mathematical formulas, real complicated math. Well, the people who did this were Jewish Germans. So they had to figure out a whole new system of physics that were Aryan physics. Not kidding. They called it Aryan physics. Well, this was such a big deal at the time. The Soviets did the same thing. The Soviets didn't want capitalist physics, so they had Soviet physics. So the Nazis had Aryan physics, the Soviets had Soviet physics, and now the Democrats have racist math. This is amazing that Richard Spencer has completely and totally won without having to fire a shot. Why do I say that? Because somebody like him really just wants people absolutely divided. That's it. He only wins if people are absolutely divided. And the Democrats are handing Richard Spencer exactly what he wants. And I have to cheer the people of Oregon on for like absolutely making every possible outcome worse. Just amazed. I'm like really like sitting there like, damn, that's like, wow, gangster, like that's amazing. That's so stupid that's amazing. Now I'm gonna make sure to read the part of F.A. Hayek's book that gets into this, and probably post a video tomorrow where I actually quote it. I'm sure there's a bunch of you who you know exactly what part of the book is. I wouldn't even be surprised right now if I think Mr. Mario. I'm forgetting. I want to say Mario, Maurizio, or that there's a person who's been watching who is extremely aware of fascist philosophy and the history of fascism, because it's uniquely Italian. Really, fascism is Italian. It wouldn't really. It's not the same thing from place to place to place. That's why collectivism always changes depending upon the collective and the collectivizers. Because in America, our system was the New Deal. And now we have the Green New Deal, totally along the same lines. Completely and totally. Absolutely the taking that it's not reining in corporations. No. No, not at all. It's entirely to take the property rights of normal citizens, to erase the concept of property rights for normal people, and to completely muck up the understanding of who owns what, and what ownership means, and especially turning freedom into a system of liberties. And so one of the things would be like, they would punish, like now, Asians don't have the liberty to attend East Coast elite colleges. They have to let black people in first. So it's the Democrats are literally now making a world that racism thrives in. They are actually actively racists. That their policies are choosing outcomes and choosing what happens to people completely based on their ethnic background. And I'm just amazed that now, Richard Spencer's he's completely vindicated. He's been completely vindicated in the sense of that really race is obviously very real. He's won this argument that race is obviously very real because there's all these people who want to collectivize. The Democrats themselves want to collectivize people by race and choose winners and losers. And then the whole thing about this is entirely a thing run by white women, white female school teachers, white administrators, and they're mostly women. Most of them are women. So these are literally people who could not accomplish anything in life because they're teachers. They're school teachers. They're not people who ran a business. And then they were like, I think I should give something back, blah, blah, blah. No, these are school teachers, and they are notoriously likely to have never done shit in their lives other than been an employee and then become a school teacher. It's even exceedingly unlikely that they have like a side business. And now we're also seeing that in France, everything is about the school teachers. All of a sudden, international policy is being altered because they finally killed a school teacher. The jihadis finally killed a school teacher. Now we're seeing this. Now we're seeing it clearly. The school teachers are considered a special, privileged class of people among socialists and all leftists, that the teachers are special, and that the teachers have to be treated as special and more special than other people, and that everybody has to dance to the teacher's tune because somehow they're smarter than everyone else. They can't accomplish shit. They're the actual people who are the most likely to have the worst grades in college. They're not engineers. They don't go into almost anything that requires math, really. Even the math teachers obviously are not really good at it because they can't really teach it. And we know this now. We know Americans are terrible at math. The ability to count change back is like a lost art, like die-cast transformers. So that's all. Yeah, I just want to make sure, and I'm going to find this quote because this is just beautiful. I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful now. That it's this thing of, you guys are really at this stage that you have implemented a policy. You're about to implement a policy that Adolf Hitler would have approved of. Amazing. Now, of course, the thing is, he would have said, oh yeah, mathematics is very, very Aryan. I just love it. I just love it. And then the best part about it is people like me are supposedly the stupid, racist imbeciles and that we don't know. You don't understand. You're only half black. You only grew up on the weekends in the Tenderloin. You don't really understand. You weren't poor enough, and you're not super black. If you were really deep, dark black, you would understand. You would be one of like them. You see, you talk like a person who has learned English, but you speak it and shit, and like you don't understand. These people, they can't speak English. They're like ooba dooba, blah blah blah. I just love this fucking idea that it's like, oh yeah, how can you know the suffering of the black people and blah 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 when obviously you don't act like you were on welfare, or you don't do all these things that are stereotypes. So this is the thing, is the same thing with the number systems of the Greeks and all that. Well, this is the beautiful part about it. Math being white. And really, this is the part that I'm like, okay, do you understand what exactly you guys are doing here? It's about to fuck your world up. This book gets into Phoenician writing and its similarity to early Chinese. Then, it's Kieran Barry, the Greek Kabbalah, highly recommend it. I Ching, this version by Hua Qing Ni, gets into how their months, numbers, and star systems are cross-referenced from their numbers and star systems and seasons and months and all that. And that's why, if you know Chinese medicine, you know the whole thing about 60, 12 times 5. So it's 12 times 5. And so it's this is just the beautiful, and you understand, like, oh yes, the cycle of 60, and there's these cycles that exist, and there's a larger medicinal calendar that was established under the Yellow Emperor, and but why should you know about the history of ethnicities when you could just declare hard work white and be like, I like easy mode.
Nigga.